Hey, my name is Alex, and I'm a senior SEO manager at Inflow. Today I'm going to look at GameStop because I'm a huge pop culture fan and console video gamer. So let's take a look at it. All right, so I already have GameStop.com open here. I'm going to start a crawl first so I can get that going, see how much we can get crawled. And then let's just start looking through the site. All right, let's just start crawling around. So free 1 to 3 day shipping. That's a nice CTA there at the top of the site. Shop by brand, that seems like a good idea. Game Informer must play. Looks like a CTA, but it's not really clear what it is. My guess would be that it would have a poor click-through rate or poor click-throughs just because it's not very clear what it is. Pre-order section, top deals. They have a lot of good sections here, highlighting a lot of the categories. So I think that's good. They make it easy for visitors to navigate the site. Got all their social profiles there. That's good. A newsletter sign up. That's nice too. I thought they might have an exit intent pop up, but they don't. At least I can't get it to show up here. So it looks like they have most of the main categories here in the navigation. So that's a good thing. Let's just check out some of these categories. Breadcrumbs, that's a good thing. They're not utilizing all the characters that they could be for their titles, at least on this page. They're using 42 out of approximately 60 characters you can use. I would think that they could get a little bit more value out of it by adding words like new and used. They have more characters than they should be using in the description. Not a huge deal, but I would try to cut that down. Let's see what their OG image is. Oh, their open graph image is broken. So that should be fixed. That means if someone is sharing this on social media, the image doesn't work. The H1, oh, it looks like they don't have an H1. So that's kind of a missed opportunity there. The H2 is GameStop. I would probably suggest that they add an H1 to this page, something relevant to it, like new and used PlayStation 5 games, and maybe a little bit of content too. Doesn't have to be a lot, just explaining a bit about the category. 150 words, 75 words even. That would be good. Just explaining a bit about what customers can find on this page and give Google a little bit of some content there to understand what the page is about. So when I click more options, it's not doing anything. So that seems like it could be broken. I'm trying to figure out if this is all wrapped into one link, which is what I would usually suggest instead of having multiple links, because then you're kind of wasting that link authority. It seems like it's all wrapped into one. That's interesting. The sort by leaves the URL the same, and that's a good thing. Let's see what happens when we add some of these filters. So the canonical stays the same. That's good. Let's go to the Resident Evil 4 page, because that's one of my favorite games ever, and I'd definitely love to play this new release. A lot of good content on this page. That's good. Specs, also a very good thing to have on your product pages. No questions and answers. Oh, there are. That's just hidden behind this plus and minus symbol. I think having this is better than nothing. Would prefer to have it opened up so that Google can crawl it, at least so they could crawl it more easily. Because we have found where Google says that they can crawl things that are hidden behind accordions or within tabs, but we've seen studies showing that they can find that content, but when you remove it from those accordions or tabs and have it always shown, it's crawled better. You're more likely to rank for that content. So while this is better than nothing, they should have it always visible, or they could at least test that. They could see how it improves rankings and see if it impacts conversions. People also bought section is really good. Really great internal linking here. So the product pages, if there's variations of a product, those all canonicalize to one version. So good job on that. It could impact their ability to rank for these specific products though. For example, Resident Evil 4 Xbox Series X might be harder to rank because let's see what that page title is. Unless they're doing a good job of covering those keywords on this one main page. Yeah, so the main page is PlayStation 4. So that canonicalization could be impacting their ability to rank for PlayStation 5 keywords and Xbox Series X keywords. Optimally, I would recommend that they self-canonical all versions of these pages and then write unique content for those specific consoles. I know that's hard with products like this, but it can be done. But this is the easy way of doing it if you don't have the resources to do something like that, create new content for all of those pages. I would imagine it could be tough with how many games come out, during each month, but there's some missed opportunity there. All right, let's see, what else do we got here? Xbox page. They do have some information here about the Xbox Series X at the bottom. That's okay. I'm guessing that's probably SEO content. They don't have any at the top. That would be something I would consider testing. Content at the top might help with rankings, but it could impact conversions. So definitely something you would want to test. The title is Sites GameStop US Site GameStop. So that's a terrible title. And the meta description is also terrible. So some pretty big missed opportunity there. H1 is Xbox, H2 is GameStop. And H1 of Xbox is not a good H1. There's got to be some better keywords for this page. Not doing too great with the Nintendo Switch page either. They've duplicated some keywords. They have room to add more. This could be something like Nintendo Switch games and accessories, new and used, or new and used Nintendo Switch games and accessories. Missing a lot there. View all results for Nintendo Switch. Not a good description. And then the H1, Nintendo Switch. That could also be Nintendo Switch games and accessories. GameStop is a huge gaming site. Maybe they don't care. They might rank for these things pretty easily. But those are some wasted opportunities there. All right, let's do a quick look at the Robots.txt, see if I can find anything that matters. Really cool art at the top and some funny disallows. Pac-Man, Inky, Blinky, Pinky, and Clyde. Allow Miss Pac-Man. That's pretty funny. So yeah, that's a pretty cool Robots.txt. I like all the fun stuff they've added to the top and the bottom. So they are blocking their facets. Usually that's a good thing. Let me check facets real quick, if there are any opportunities for allowing facets. Some of these brands, these could be opportunities for allowing facets. Most e-commerce sites tend to disallow all faceted navigation URLs. And a lot of platforms like Shopify, they don't even have the option to make those crawlable, which is unfortunate. So it depends on the platform that you're on. But if you do have the ability to allow facets, you could allow things like this, like brands, Astro Gaming. And this URL is not indexable, so probably won't rank for Astro Gaming. But those would be some of the opportunities there. If you see in your Google Search Console account that there are keywords like Astro Gaming, Bionic, Logitech, I'm sure there are some Logitech searches. Your keyword data will show you which sorts of facets you could leave indexable and crawlable. All right, let's look at the XML sitemap. Several indexes, several sitemaps. This must be a pretty big sitemap. It's taking a long time to load. You see this a lot in XML sitemaps. There's a lot of pages that should not be in there, should not be indexable. This page is indexable. It's Wolfenstein 2 page. There's no content on this. So this is probably showing up in Search Console as a soft 404. And after finding one, it'd be safe to assume that there's a bunch of them like this. So that they should clean that up on their site. And then here we have a parameter URL. So that shouldn't be in the XML sitemap. You want your XML sitemap to have the pages that you want to be indexable. You want customers to find. You don't want customers to find pages like this. And You don't want Google to find them either. They're going to think your site has technical problems. So their XML sitemaps probably need to be cleaned up. Let's take a look at schema. I don't see any schema on their homepage. So they should have at least organization schema, I would think, on the homepage. Here's a category page. This is Xbox Series X. Usually we expect breadcrumb schema at least, which they do have, so that's good. And then on product pages, we normally expect breadcrumb, product snippets, and review snippets. They do have breadcrumbs, and they do have products, but it doesn't look like they have reviews. But that could also be because I didn't check a page that has reviews, so let's double check that. All right, here's NBA 2K23. This has some reviews on it, so let's check the schema on that one. Well, it looks like the product pages do have some errors happening here. I would look into those. They have offers, but they don't have review schema. So something that I would suggest adding, do they have a blog? Because there could be some schema there too, schema opportunities that they should add to that site or to that part of the site. I guess Game Informer is their blog, but that's a separate site. Let's take a look at their rich results test. No items detected on their homepage. And they have breadcrumbs on the category page, product snippets, merchant listings, and breadcrumbs on product pages, but there are some errors happening. So they need to fix some of those things. And let's do a quick look at Ahrefs, see what kind of keywords they're ranking for. Actually, let's go back to overview real quick. So at least over the past 3 months, their backlink profile looks good. Lots of referring domains over the last 2 years, 3 years. Huge growth there in backlinks. And looks like pretty normal anchors. So that's good. Don't want to see a bunch of spammy anchor text. Despite the growth in referring domains, traffic has remained fairly steady. So that's interesting. And there was some keyword growth over the last few years, but it has trended down over the last 3 years. So I do think that there is some work that needs to be done on this site. Losing this sort of keywords, I mean, that doesn't always translate into traffic. So I want to be careful about assuming anything. A pretty big drop off there as of February of last year. Looks like it's trending upwards though. Yeah, I'd say there's some opportunities there. Some of those things that I had mentioned as far as improving their titles, improving their H1s, their meta descriptions, optimizing those pages, possibly allowing variations of product pages to be indexable, and then creating unique content for those pages, and improving the XML sitemaps. That would be a big one. I'm interested also to know why all those referring domains, why all those new links haven't improved rankings. What keyword difficulty do we want to try here? Let's just go with 40 and see what that shows us. You might have to play around with some of these filters when you're doing this sort of research yourself, but let's just see what comes up in these ranges. Keyword difficulties of 40 should be pretty easy for GameStop to rank for. And now some of these, like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC, it would make sense that they don't rank too well for it because they're probably not selling that. You can't sell that as new or used, it's downloadable content. But that could be an opportunity for, well, they could talk about it on their page. They could create a blog post if they had a blog section. And that would be a good place to add content in your frequently asked questions section or their Q&A section that they had, because you can populate those sections with your own content. So yeah, there seems to be some pretty good keywords here that they could rank for and they're not doing too well. Some other ones that are not so good also, but I would look through that and find some opportunities. Let's see if there are any opportunities here for branded keywords. GameStop promo, that would probably be an easy one for them to rank for. GameStop discounts. These are obviously variations with the space, and they probably don't want to rank for that. But if they targeted some of these keywords without the space, they would probably still rank for them without the space. Is GameStop open on Thanksgiving? Could be a good holiday page there. Let's see, maybe it's because of the way I searched for just stop. Let's do it together. Thursday House GameStop. I don't know the meaning of some of these things. They probably know internally. They have some holiday keywords coming in here, and I guess it would make sense to have on the stores page. There's an opportunity there to create a holidays page. And a lot of times we do recommend that our clients do create holiday pages because people search for keywords like that. And you can reuse that page over and over. You don't want to put the year in it because then you have to create redirects every year. So you just want it to be something like GameStop.com/Thanksgiving, and then just reuse that page every year and update it. Coupons, discounts, and promos, that definitely makes sense for them. They do have a page for it, it looks like, but maybe it's not optimized well. It does not appear to be optimized. There's no content here for Google to find. This is an image. It has deals and it's a link to itself. So not enough information here for Google to find. All right, so that's some of the branded keywords, unbranded keywords, and backlinks. See what their competitors look like. So PlayStation, Nintendo, they rank for a lot of the same keywords, but I wouldn't consider them competing domains because they're not really in the same market of new and used video game sales. So we'll try to find some that are more relevant to GameStop. DKoldies.com is a retro game store. That seems relevant. OpenCritic.com. They look like a store. They're built like a store, but they send people to Amazon affiliate links, it looks like. So this could be a good one. Lukey Games. Yeah, this looks like a good one too. All right, so let's see what some of these sites look like in comparison. I just want to see if Ahrefs shows them trending in the same direction. Referring domains is also trending similarly to GameStop for DK Oldies, but it actually has seemed to help them, whereas it hasn't seemed to help GameStop. Could be because they're much smaller than GameStop. They're trending positively where GameStop is not. Referring domains is the same here. This is for opencritic.com, and that has also positively impacted their traffic. Again, it could be because they're much smaller. GameStop is so big that it's hard to see some of those big trends. At least it doesn't impact them as much as smaller sites. And a huge jump again here when the pandemic started, where people start searching for video games. This looks pretty similar to GameStop. It does seem like there's a lot of opportunity for GameStop, though. All right, what else can we look at? Let's look at GameStop's URL structure. I'm not really liking those dashes there in the URL or the numbers. I suppose that could be a limitation of their platform. Video games, products, product name, number, SKU maybe. It seems decent. Let's look at the images. So no alt attributes on these images. And that would be good for accessibility and for SEO. They do have them on this page, on the product page, so that's good. It looks like they use the same one for all of the images, so that's not good. I guess it's better than nothing, but it's not very helpful for anybody. So maybe not better than nothing. Let's check the homepage. Yeah, good, all the attributes there. Missing on some. They could do more of that. I know it's hard to do alt attributes, especially on a very large site like this. It takes so much time and it's hard to have easy access to those images on every page. I understand that that can be hard to find time to do, but it should be done. So they are using gzip compression. That's good. Compressing most of the resources helps with speed. I'm not going to do a site speed audit right now, but there's almost always opportunities for improving site speed. Yeah, it looks good there. Let's jump into Screaming Frog and see if there's anything to look at there. Let's pause this crawl. It got 8% done in, I don't know how long I've been recording now, almost an hour. Huge site. So these URLs come up in the security section of Screaming Frog as bad content type. Very interesting URLs. I don't know where they're coming from. Is this from their faceted navigation? Are those indexable? Yes, they are. Okay, so it's size. The canonical is correct, but it's coming up as indexable and the page is indexed. Lots of those pages are indexed. So they need to fix that. Let's see, this one timed out. A lot of times these no responses are just issues you run into with Screaming Frog. So yeah, that page looks fine. They've got some 301 redirects and 302s they need to look into. Normally, I would just suggest that they change those to direct links to the page instead of redirecting. I know that can be tough too, especially with a large and old site like this, but could be valuable for SEO reasons. Lots of 404s. Well, these are 403, a lot of 403s. And a lot of times that's a crawl problem with the Screaming Frog software. I mean, the page does exist, but it's not a good looking page. They need to figure out what to do about those. Those are not good. Should not be indexed, probably. No 500 errors, at least in the 8% of the site that I was able to crawl. There are probably some redirect chains. There almost always is with large sites like this, but I don't want to run that report right now. Do have some not so great URL structures here with non-ASCII characters. You can see here some of those curly brackets. There's not a ton here, but I would always tell a client, don't do that. Underscores are not a problem in parameters. I don't worry about that too much, but if it's in the main URL, I would probably recommend they don't do that. We also typically suggest that clients don't do a mix of uppercase and lowercase characters because Google can see those as separate URLs if they're accessible in both ways. I always recommend all lowercase. Always default to lowercase, redirect uppercase characters to lowercase versions of the URLs because people will find those pages, they'll link to them, and it'll spread that authority across those variations of pages. We do have links to search pages. That's not a good thing to do, especially when search pages are usually not indexable. So yeah, they're wasting it there, linking to non-indexable pages. Lots of URLs with long titles, very long titles. Those should be cleaned up. And then a lot of URLs that are below 30 characters in titles, so missing opportunities there. A lot of bad meta descriptions, which we've already seen. And it looks like they're just duplicating it across pages. Not a huge thing, but I would fix that on the most important pages. I would try to optimize those and see what we could get out of it. I know they don't have any ranking value, but it could improve conversions, click-through rates from Google. Lots of pages that don't have H1s. That's a missed opportunity. Screaming Frog is finding a lot of pages that have very low content. Normally, we would pair this with Google Analytics data so that we could focus on the pages that have the most traffic and most potential. But I would guess that some of these would be good, like gift cards and new releases, to add new content to so that you can improve those rankings. So they're not considered thin pages. We do have at least a few images here that are a little bit large, could probably be optimized, compressed. It looks like they are missing meta robots on some sections of their site too. So this might be something to fix. They are self-referencing canonicals, but it's on a parameter page. Google usually ignores everything after the parameter. So they might be telling Google here on all of these parameter URLs to no index, no follow this link element, this canonical link element. That'd be something I'd want to look into a little bit more. It does appear to be a problem though. It might not be impacting them too much, but could. It could be causing confusion with the search engine. All right, we have pagination. I'm not too worried about that. Oh, so their search is indexable, it looks like. Well, let's just search for something Resident Evil. and it's indexable. We usually do not recommend leaving that indexable. When it's been open for this long, this has probably always been indexable, is my guess. A lot of these search pages probably convert. So that would make it a hard decision to change from indexable to not indexable. And a lot of times in those cases, when we're doing a content audit, we'll look for all of these search URLs, match that up with the data in Google Analytics, the revenue data, and we'll make all pages that are not revenue driving non-indexable. That's a place to start. And then anything that does bring in a decent amount of revenue will leave indexable. But then moving forward, all search URLs should stay not indexable because it's not a good user experience from search. People don't want to find these pages. They want to find the official product pages. Those will drive more revenue usually, and that gives the visitor the experience that you want to give them, not a terrible looking search page. So definitely a project I would suggest them do there. All right, I think that's it. There are other things to look into here, but I think I found quite a bit. I would imagine there's some pretty big projects that could be done here and to improve this site, and a lot of opportunity. Just from looking around the site, I found, well, they're duplicating meta descriptions all over the place, which is not so important for SEO reasons, but would be valuable for click-through and the search results. Their meta titles need a lot of work. They have a lot of them where they're too short, not providing as much useful information as they could to Google or to the users. And they have a lot of titles that are over character length, way over, which could be shortened and made more succinct, which would also help Google or all the search engines. There's a lot of keywords that they could be targeting. Branded keywords that they're not ranking too well for could create some holiday pages. A lot of keywords that are non-branded that they could create content for. They could populate the Q&A sections with some of their own questions and answers. They should be using review schema on product pages. They need to clean up their XML sitemaps. There's some problems there. Would probably benefit from a better navigation. They need to make their search URLs not indexable, but of course, first check revenue. Anything that drives a decent amount of revenue, significant amount of revenue, you want to leave indexable. Just prevent that from happening in the future. I think there's opportunity there for variations of products. Instead of having those canonical to one version page, could release that so that they all become indexable, but then they also need their own content. So maybe do that on a case-by-case basis where you see the value in doing that. There were lots of other little things, and I don't remember them all off the top of my head now, but there is a lot of opportunity on this site for improving their SEO. Thanks for checking this out. Thanks for taking a look at this site audit. I hope it was helpful to see what we do when we're looking at sites during content audits and tech audits. So yeah, thanks.